Hi, and welcome to another episode of Success Ladder Podcast. My name is Paul Bryan, and here at Success Ladder Podcast, we bring you one story at one episode at a time to inspire the world, to inspire you to become a better person, and for us to have a better world. So, we are living in a society where there is a lot of pressure to conform with whatever is happening. But then we really need to know that living a unique life or having that unique attribute as from you is one of the most powerful strengths that you have. And today I want us to have a conversation with a very beautiful lady. She's been here before. She's going to introduce herself in a bit. I want us to talk about how actually to stand out in a world where people want you to fit in. So joining me is Gatwiri. She's been here. We've done an episode with her before, and she's here today again. And this is not the last episode that we're going to do with her. I know she's going to come again and again and again. So Gloria, I know you did an introduction the first time you were here, but then not everybody has followed that episode. So you're going to have to introduce yourself again.
Thank you so much.
So it's Glory.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me again. And I'm loving the new space.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Yes. Thank you for having me. For anyone who has not watched the previous episode, I'd urge you to go back and watch it. The one that I was there, from excuses to execution. And yeah. So besides that, I'm Glory Gatwiri. And yes, I am a procurement professional. Yes. And yeah, I'm just a girl. As you can see, I'm just a girl.
A girl.
And I'm happy to be here.
All right.
Yes. Unless there's anything else you'd want to know about me. But I think as we continue, we are going to deep dive into that. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, Gloria, I just want us to jump right into it. You see, the world that we are living in today, people have set standards. And that is how people want us to conform to different perspective, different aspects of life, or what the world is offering to us, or in different places and spaces we are in. So I want us to take it back, because I remember when I was a child, there are so many things that used to happen. We could go out, play football, for example, and then you look at the type of attire my friends, my teammates were wearing, boots and all that, the types of stories they are telling me and all that, and even me, the ones that I was telling them. So there was that pressure when we were kids to conform to things. Like I see a kid with something and I come back home, I go back home and tell mom, so and so they have this, why don't we have that? So to me, I feel like that is when we start all this pressure of wanting to fit into the world. So how was your childhood experience, and how do you feel about it, and what were some of the lessons that you learned from your such situations in your childhood?
Okay. Yes, I also had such moments. I remember when I was young, small, in primary school maybe, we'd go to visit some of my mom's friends, and then maybe I'd see their house. It's like, I'm saying it's beautiful. Like, they have things that us we don't have at home. I'd also go back home, and then I'm like, now I've gotten a perfect example. DSTV. Those days when we were growing up, DSTV was,
Yeah.
So now we'd go to maybe my friends or my mom's friends' place, and then we find they have DSTV, and then I'm like, well, us we didn't have DSTV, as we had Star Times at that time. So I was like, but you see, DSTV had a wide array of channels. It had kina Nickelodeon, kina Disney Junior, Disney Channel, all of those ones. But Star Times, I think it only had Nickelodeon and Disney Junior and Jim Jam only. So I was like, why don't we have DSTV? Sometimes I'd even like, okay, I'd not ask my parent, but I was like, kwani what did I do? What now I started asking. I started seeing as if I was born at the wrong place. I was like, why was I born in a family where we don't have DSTV, even in again, also, as I grew, I went to high school. Then in high school, that period, I don't know if it was a trend or what was it. Everyone had glasses. You see, like your glasses.
Yeah.
Now, me, I started wearing glasses when I was in primary school. But now, you see, when you're young, you're bought for those tiny glasses. You know them?
I know them.
Yes. Now, in high school, everybody has gigs. We used to call, I don't know if they're still called like that nowadays. Everyone had gigs. Now, like you as, these are frames, kuba.
Yeah.
And then, so there was that and braces. That was what the cool kids were having. So at least I managed to get the gigs, the braces. Ndio my mother told me, no, you want braces just because others have them, not because you are, like, you just want to fit in.
Exactly.
That my mother told me, you don't have to fit in. You are unique just the way you are, and that's where your beauty lies. You are in your uniqueness. You don't have to fit in. You don't have to look like the other people so that you can be enough, or you can, like, just the way you are, there's something you are offering the world.
True.
So from that, I got that lesson of being authentic, being myself, not having to look like the others.
True.
Yeah.
So my next question will be, you see, why do you feel like the society normally pushes us towards conformity? And when I talk about society, society is me. Society is you yourself.
Yeah.
For example, whatever you've told us, the story you've told us that you saw your schoolmates used to have the big glasses, braces and all that, and then from that you felt the urge of conforming to that. That was the norm of the day, so you had to fit in that space. Society is our family, so society is what we see, what we read, what we watch. Society is what people tell us and how people expect us to live. So why do you feel like there is always that push towards conformity, to conform to whatever is trending and whatever people expect, to see from us?
Okay, there's a saying that says no man is an island.
True.
So as human beings, we value community.
Yep.
We value being part of maybe a group, and not only human beings, even animals. You find animals, like I think lions, they stay in their pride.
Yeah.
They stay together. So being in a community, that I would say that is one thing that will push you to conform to what people are saying. I'd want to have glasses like yours so that we can have something in common to talk about. I can ask you, where did you get your frames from? You ask me, how long do you go for checkups and things like that. Also, there is a norm that also society has brought, that when you are unique or you are on your own, you are not strong. When you are in that community, that's when you are strong. So that gives you the push to be like that. That makes you want to fit in to a group of people. And also, there is also another norm that society has, that predictability is equals to stability. The fact that you fit in with there's this other thing that is out there, that you have, the one that we were discussing just before we started to roll. You have to go to school, you go to primary, you finish primary, you go to high school, you finish high school, you go to campus, after campus you get a job, like that linear path. And not just any job, a corporate job. And then after a job you start a family. After a family, like, even you'll find, I'm pretty sure maybe in your graduation you had those people who are telling you, sasa umeva, I don't know if it was the same for you. For me it was, sasa umeva gauni ya masomo, sasa tunangoja hiyo gauni ingine.
I know.
You see, and then kwa ya wedding utasikia wakisema sasa tunangoja tena gauni ingine ya maternity and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So society has painted that one linear path that people have to follow. So when you're trying, probably you are not even meant to be employed, but because you want to fit in to what society has painted as the path to success or whatever, so you force yourself to be in employment. You see, you force yourself to be there, and you think you'll be stable, but you find, okay, you are in employment, yes, but you're frustrated. Monday to Monday, you're always frustrated because that's not your space. You are maybe meant to be an entrepreneur or a creator or something. So, I think those are the main reasons that make people want to fit in.
I think I agree with you. And you find that it's a very dangerous thing. And especially, I think, for us young people, that is one of the challenges that we are facing today, because our minds were trained in a particular way. So you realize that maybe when we get to colleges, when we get to tertiary institutions, we still think that that path is linear. So we tend not to try and exploit our full potential. I can be in a tertiary institution, maybe studying engineering. It doesn't mean that that is my field and I have to get employed. Even in that field, even if I want to stay in that engineering, I should open my mind. Now, being unique is something, to me, I always feel like it's my superpower. It's your superpower to be unique. When you stand out, you become so strong, you become so powerful, because even if you're in a work environment, for example, and whatever you can do, I can do, because we've conformed to what the work environment wants. Then it means that there is nothing extra that I'm bringing to that organization, for example. But when you stand out, when you have something unique, then you have superpower. There is something unique that can only be found in you.
Sure.
So I know in your life, the way I know you, there are moments that you've stood out, and sometimes we stand out and it cost us. So do you have a moment where you stood out and then it costed you, and how did you handle it?
Okay. I have a moment where I stood out. I remember when I was in campus, there was a program for volunteering in the marketing department. I think I mentioned it in the episode that we did last with you. So there was that program of volunteering for marketing. So the moment you hear it's marketing, you'd just say, that's for marketing students.
True.
So for me, I was doing procurement. So I decided to join. That program and volunteer as a marketer. And I remember at that time, it kind of, people won't tell it to your face that, you see, nowadays you're hanging out with people from marketing, especially. Plus, also, it's like an unspoken rule in campus that you have to hang out around your classmates. But now, at that time, because you are in marketing, you'd find I'm hanging out with people in marketing, or mostly my friends became those ones that we volunteer with in that department. And people in my class, they were like, hey, Gatwiri nowadays, she works with the marketing people. And then you find we start initiatives like maybe we want to organize an event and we are the ones organizing. And then the critics are those now, the classmates, that they're like, they're like, nowadays you see, it costed me that having that community in my class. And how I dealt with it, I just kept on, because I was like, I've already started. There's no way I'm going back. So I was like, it's okay, sawa. The ones who are not meant to be there, they leave. The ones who are meant to be there, they'll continue working with me, even if they feel like I've sidelined them or something. I've decided to work with the people in marketing.
And I always have that feeling, because I also have a cycle of my friends. There are many of them who do things that personally, like, I'm not interested in, but then again, I always say, because even for me, I prioritize myself. So whatever makes me happy is my priority. So whatever makes them happy, I always say, yeah, that's what I'll support them.
okay.
Even if I'm
Yeah.
not interested, even if I don't want to join them,
Yeah.
I'll support them, because that is where they find their happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember back when I was in high school, since before we started this episode, we are talking. So I remember that was in Kenyan education system. That was paper 1 English. So there was this part of how do you used to call it? But we did have poem, some section of poem in paper 1, not poetry, the one which was in paper 2. So you'll be given a poem, and then maybe question will follow. So there was this question about what happens when a poem is translated. If today I write a poem, but then I'm a poet. I have a book called Rivers of Love, full of poems, 1,000 poems, which I started writing back in high school. Actually, I used to love English so much. So there was this question of what happens when you translate a poem. For example, if I write a poem in Luo or a Kikuyu, and then somebody translates it, what happens? What changes does it bring? And the first answer that I used to write was, it loses authenticity. It loses originality. That was so obvious. So, in context of what you're talking about, how do you define authenticity?
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Authenticity, to me,
Yeah.
it's the ability for you to show up just as you are, without changing anything. If I am someone who if I'm someone who grew up speaking Swahili, I will show up. Even when I go to an office, I will speak Swahili. But now, unfortunately, you see, society has shaped us. When you speak Swahili in an organization, you're not professional, unfortunately. But to me, authenticity is that ability of you showing up just as you are, without changing anything about yourself. Yeah.
How come? Now, to me, I know authenticity is one of the powerful tools that we need to have. But then building it is not an easy thing. So if there is somebody struggling to be authentic, they really want to be authentic, but then again the society is pushing them to conform. Then how do you build confidence of showing up yourself, like being you, being the glory? How do you build that confidence? And how is authenticity a powerful tool to have as a person?
Authenticity, as we said in the beginning, we say that in your uniqueness, that's where your beauty is. That's where and also you've mentioned in your uniqueness, or that unique thing that you are adding is what makes you valuable. So being authentic, it helps someone become authenticity helps someone to become valuable, because that thing that you have that other people don't have, that's what makes you valuable. Also, showing up, what was the other question apart from how authenticity can be?
So there was a question on how you build the confidence to show up yourself, and how is authenticity, basically showing up yourself is being authentic, and how is authenticity a powerful tool to you as a person.
Okay, so how you build confidence. One thing, there's an influencer who once said that someone who has chosen to hate you, even if you bring the moon to them, they will never change what they have decided to feel about you. So you just be yourself, because you will change yourself. You'll not show up authentically, you will not show up uniquely as you should have, and people will not be interested. I usually see on social media, you just see someone, she's trying to wear maybe tiny clothes because they say nudity sells. So someone is showing almost half of her body is outside. But you find, like, when you look at that person, because let me tell you again, another superpower that people have is telling that you are not authentic. Because there's someone who will just dress the way they'll dress, and people will see this is not you, and they will judge you. You will face a lot of backlash, and nobody does anything on social media to get backlash. Everyone, or most people, want to do it. If it's not for fun, you want to do it maybe to gain traction or something like that. So for you to have the confidence to build authenticity, you just have to know that once someone decides, like, this is how they will feel about you, even if you do something that you look, because social media has a way probably of showing this person follows this one, so you look at this other person that this person follows to see what they do, so that you can do, you're getting. So so even if you do that, if that person has chosen to never look at your page, you utajitesa buri. You will, if it's I usually say, if it's probably for ladies, you want someone to notice you. Maybe you are wearing heels, you're walking with 6-inch heels, you don't even know how to walk in them, but you're there struggling to walk. But if probably that guy has decided you are not his type, utavunjika miguu hapo, and they will exactly. Sasa utakuwa na wheelchair hapo, tukwange tuna take turns kukusukuma na wheelchair na haukupata mtu. So you just show up as your authentic self. Another thing, you reflect. Just have a daily reflection of where you come from. Because for me, honestly, for me to stay authentic, I reflect on where I come from. I reflect at the background I come from, and I tell myself that my background is not the same as my friend's background. So there's no way that we can be there's totally no way we can be the same. And also that analogy that those motivational speakers used to use in high school, at least even if I didn't used to listen to the whole speech, there's something I remember. The one they used to say, when you look at your fingers, they are not the same. So there's no way we can all be the same, and each finger is unique. And also the story of the fingerprints and everything, like the way we are unique. Nobody, even if I change myself, even if I go for surgery, I say I am admiring Paul Bryan. I go for surgery, become a man. I put beards and everything. I can never be Paul Bryan.
Definitely.
So that's
especially Paul Bryan. You can never be me.
Exactly. So you just be your authentic self, and I think being authentic is what brings beauty in the world. Just look at, like, Africa. The way Africa is beautiful, because everyone is different. Like, there's that difference in culture, different in ethnic groups, different in languages. That makes it beautiful. So always remember where you come from, so that you stay grounded. That will help you stay grounded in who you truly are. And remember that people have their own opinions, and once they've decided this about you, you can never get them out of there. I
agree with you. And it's not only about where you're coming from, also where you want to go.
Sure. Because you have different
look
journeys.
At where you're coming from. It's going to instill some maybe pain, some discipline, actually not pain, some discipline in you. And also, if you know where you are going, it's always going to keep you on track. It's going to tell you that I have to remain Paul Bryan because of where I want to go. You mentioned social media. And whenever we talk about authenticity, whenever we talk about originality and showing up as yourself, then comes the haters. Then comes the trolls and silent critics. So how do you handle these silent critics, trolls?
You just let them. You just let them. Everyone has an opinion, and they're entitled to their opinions. And it's a world, as you've said, it's a world of diversity. We have different people. And our different backgrounds, they make us have different views of life. So whatever my view of life is, it doesn't necessarily have to fit your view of life. So that's for trolls, and just let them. There's a book I am starting to listen to, the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I'm starting to listen to it, and the first episode, you just let people be.
Yeah.
Just let people be. Don't try if someone hates you, don't try to assimilate them to start liking you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I always ask myself, sometimes, I want to remain authentic. But then again, there is that part of growth. And sometimes you see how people are living. Okay, for example, if today my friend owns a chopper, then I still want to remain authentic, drive my car and all that. Then the question is, how do I balance between these two, between growth? Because maybe I'll say, hey, this person, my friend who is having a chopper, who owns a chopper, I can try and live like him for me to grow. And then there is that aspect, you know what? I have to live, I have to be authentic. So how do you balance between growth and living an authentic life?
Okay, for me, I believe that growth does not have to change who you are, like it does not have to change how you show up. You see, for authenticity, there are those values, those core values that you live by. Growth does not have to compromise those core values.
True.
Whatever is compromising those core values, I don't think it can be growth. You cannot term it as growth.
True.
So I think that's where the balance is, where as you're growing, you just remain yourself, and whatever that is not comfortable with you growing as your authentic self, it will fall off, and it's probably for your good and probably for the to ensure that growth continues or even fastens that growth, whatever falls off. If you are not compromising your core values, if you are showing up as your authentic self.
Yeah. I think I agree. It's a question that I've been asked a number of times. And I always say, you see what? If today my friend is owning a chopper, I'm telling you, I'll admire that person. But I'm not going to live a fake life to live a life that will insinuate somebody who wants a chopper. No, I know it's a motivation. That is, maybe I will term it as where I want to be, for example, but then I'll have to remain authentic. Glory, maybe what advice would you give to someone feeling the pressure to shrink or playing small? I have potential, but then, the society wants me this way. So I have to play small. I have to shrink to conform to what the society wants.
Okay, to anyone who feels like they have to shrink to conform to what society wants, I'd tell you, just show up. Honestly, society doesn't care. Society doesn't care that much. It's all in your head. Because the moment you start living as your authentic self, that's when you'll realize, kumbe no one actually cares about my life like the way I thought they'd care, You see, that time when maybe you are fearing to show up as your authentic self, you're like, okay, well, now I will show up. I don't do this, or I'm good at this, but now people will think I'm showing off when I do it to my best capability. But honestly, no one cares. If anything, I think society is waiting for that one authentic person. I know there are a lot of people who are hiding, and they are waiting for just one person to show up authentically so that they can so that also them, they can show up authentically. Let me share just a story before we finish. I remember back in campus, there was a time I was like deeply rooted in church. I'm still rooted in church, but that time I was like deeply. I'm still rooted in church, but that time I was deeply rooted kabisa. So I'd wake up on my Instagram stories, I'd post verses, I'd post when I go somewhere church related and things like that. And then there was this lady who came and she told me she admires how I am not afraid to talk about my faith on Instagram. You know, like Instagram is a place that people show maybe they've gone to this place, they've traveled, but me, I'm there with my Bible verses. At kama nimetravel, there's a verse connected to that. So she was like, she really admires that. And through that, she also started sharing her faith with people on Instagram, on her WhatsApp status and everything. So you see, through that, I'm like, so through me living authentically at that time, it made her also start living authentically, start sharing whatever she felt like needed to be shared with others. So yeah, to anyone that feels like they need to shrink to fit in, you just do, you don't shrink. Nobody cares really. Nobody cares that much at now you are showing off. Of course there'll be those people, but wataongea usiku watalala.
All right. Thank you very much, Glory.
Thank you.
As you're winding up, I want to give you a chance to tell the world, if the world was to hear one thing from you about the importance of embracing yourself, your uniqueness and your authenticity, what will that be from you?
From me?
Yeah.
Let me open my notes up. I had written it down.
Okay.
I was wondering, you're not asking. Okay, now, so something that I read somewhere and I made some small notes from, I'll read it to you.
All right.
Your uniqueness is not a flaw to fix. It's the exact difference the world is waiting for. Many a times people dim their light to fit in, fearing that being different means being less than. But the truth is, the things that make you stand out are usually the very things that make you valuable to your team, your community, your family, and to the world. So whether it's how you speak, whether it's how you solve problems, or whether it's how you see the world, embracing your uniqueness is how you stop performing and start leading. So for you to the world,
yes,
let us stop performing. Let us stop showing up as other people. Let us show up as our authentic self, and that is the only way that we are able to lead.
Yeah, thank you much, Glory Gatwiri, for that wonderful conversation, and thank you for reminding us that in a world where we are forced to conform or to fit into boxes, the most radical thing that we can do to ourselves is to remain authentic. If you're listening to this episode and you've been hiding your light, this is a sign for you to own your space, to own your voice, and to own your stories. This is Success Ladder Podcast. Paul Bryan. Until next time, adios.
Adios.